proper aim, I'm bussin'. Bust it, bust it, bust it, bust it.
Alrighty guys, what's going on? It's Mitch. Today's a big day. So we look down on the garage floor, you'll see this is sort of the dimensions. It'll be a bit thinner than this. And I reckon that I'm just about ready to start. Now I'm gonna have to, okay, I'll show you what I'm thinking. A lot of cool trays, in my opinion, have the like the taper on the corner. And that wasn't in my original design, but I don't know, I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I was like, you know what, might as well try and integrate it in. So this here is just a cardboard mock-up of the end piece. And so what I can do, you can cut a wedge to the certain angles that you want, and then what you can actually do is fold it in and then weld that in place. I've sort of marked out where I'm gonna be. It's 15 inches from each side, and it's gonna be, I'm thinking maybe like a 25-degree angle, so it's not like a full 45 in. Say if these come into about here, which they probably will, I'll then have the posts for the rooftop tent sitting there, and I can then have a spare tire mounted just here in front of the canopy there. That's the idea, and plus it helps with departure angles and all that. I won't be hitting the corner of the tray on stuff. So today, I'm gonna try and cut this up and make it into the shape that I want. As long as I calculate twice, measure twice, cut once, weld once, then it should be fine. Okay, so I was playing around with the different settings here, and I sort of ground down a bit of the paint. This is from my old, well, this is the end to my old scrub bar. I think I actually started on this one maybe, I can't remember, but I then moved on to this one, which again, welding threads isn't not the best, I suppose. You can see that I started at the end there, and I ended over here, sort of doubled back a bit there, but a bit too late. But this side filled in real good, so obviously, I'm not gonna weld anything today, I'm gonna do more practice, but definitely pleased with the progression. All right guys, what's going on? So it's the next day, day 2 of the rear bar. So what I'm doing is, you would have seen there's a pie cut under here. If you guys know Roam Life, I'm sort of doing the same sort of thing as him, where I'm tapering the end up just to meet the side, because this is 100 mil thick and the sides are 75 mil like tall. So this flap here will then be bent up to meet this. Now, obviously I measured, you can see the little line here. I've measured from the middle point there, and I almost went from the same point of the weld on this side, but I realized that wouldn't have worked because it would have made that piece cockeyed. So just remember to square off the line here, and then go from that point. Otherwise that flap that you'll have won't quite like line up. So yeah, just make sure that you square it off before you make the second measurement on the other side. But that's just because it's bent, so it's actually stretched the material on one side. And then yeah, I've got this piece of bar here, where it's actually just aluminium, that I'm just using just so I make sure I get a smooth, straight initial cut. Then I'll take that off and cut all the way through. Once I do this side, we should then be able to bend this side of the whole bar up, clamp it in place, and I'll just tack it so that it stays there, and then we'll do the other side. But yeah, that should be that. So let's get to it, boys. These are my safety glasses, guys. Look, they're the only things I could find. Not mixing chemicals or anything, just cutting angle grinding. So, but yeah. All right, let's do this next cut. Alright, so I'm just about ready to weld, and I've sanded back the top layer of the galvanized coating on the steel, just so that it gets the best bond it can. One of the most important things that I've found so far about welding is that you got to make sure that you're comfortable. Like if you're not like grounded leaning against something, then it's going to be an uneven, shaky weld. But if you're if you're leaning on a bench and supporting your hand as you're doing the motions, it's going to look a lot cleaner and it will be a lot better. So I'm going to position this up to where I can lean on the bench. But yeah, I think we're just about good to go. Alright guys, that's it. Rear bar is pretty much done. Now I ground down and I re-welded the top just because I wasn't happy with how it was penetrating, so I ground it down and just put another weld on. These welds here, I also ground down, not all the way flush, but just rounded them off. Obviously if these were supporting a structure, I wouldn't have ground them at all. But because it's literally just, the only thing this weld is doing is holding this piece of steel up, I just thought, you know, I can grind it down, it should be fine. That's pretty much the rear bar done. The plan is to cut up the headboard length and then the two side rails, weld them together square, and then 3 slats in the middle, and then I can tackle on cutting out a weird shape in order to fit this in because of this angle. Yeah, pretty happy with the progress so far. So now all I've got to do is cut up, find a few lengths, cut them up, and then make sure that they're square. Now, getting it perfectly square is going to be the scariest part. Yes, onwards and upwards.